Good afternoon. So I am moving gravel between the raised beds. I got everything painted, finished up last night with a headlamp in the dark, but you do what you gotta do. I expected it to take a little bit longer, and I only have like half a raised bed left, and I'm like, I'm not quitting. So I went and put a headlamp on, and I got it finished. I got all the beds done. So this morning when I got up, and the forecast was showing like rain around 9, and then around lunch, and then again around 2 or 3, I decided that I'd better start getting my weed barrier down and then get my rock down. Thankfully, a friend of ours, Philip Starnes, he runs Current River Earthworks, I believe that's his name. I tagged him in the post earlier. He had swung by to finish putting out some more gravel for the, I guess you want to call them like the runs for the back of the barn where the chickens will come in and out of the back. It's kind of was a low spot and had some more gravel brought in. So he smoothed that out, and he built up my driveway a little bit more because it had a bit of a low spot in it. And everything just kind of settled out. Oh goodness. The chickens have officially found out how to get inside the cattle panels, which is their last day having access to this particular garden, because I'm going to finish fencing it off. I just don't have anything planted in these beds, so I really didn't care if they stirred stuff around for me. But I didn't want them kicking all of my dirt out, and they've got quite powerful little kickers. So, well, anyway, what I got going on is I'm spreading gravel on top of weed barrier. And I'm doing that because I don't want to keep mulching. This is a permanent space now. I've got it exactly how I've always wanted it, and well, since I knew I was going to be able to build a barn, and I started thinking about what I want long term, and I wanted these beds in here, one of these big raised beds. Well, I'm young enough to do it. I wanted these big raised beds, and I wanted just enough room between the two for my wheelbarrow, and I wanted to put weed barrier down, and I want to put gravel over the top. And I wanted white gravel because the beds are black, and I thought it'd be really pretty. But another thing is, if I just left mulch down, the mulch just keeps breaking down, which builds up the soil, but I'm not planning on ever gardening that soil, so I'm wasting the mulch basically. And then I'm just building it taller and taller, and so then I'd have to come through every year and like knock off the top and then remulch. So this is permanent. I can put my weed barrier down, and put my gravel over the top of it, and between my raised beds I will never have to worry about remulching. I won't have to worry about rocking it, because obviously the rocks will be there forever. And then since they're on weed barrier, they're less likely to get smushed into the ground and disappear, so that helps. And then the other thing is splashback. When it rains, with these dark beds or even with white beds, it really shows the splashback from when the rain hits the dirt and then just splashes, and it just makes it kind of a mess. I'll show you. Turn around. I don't know how to turn it around. I thought that turned it around. Well, it doesn't. So splashback. So it's dirty there, and then I got rock, so it'll help. And I was pretty sure that I'd be able to flip this camera, because Cruzy and I used to be able to. It sucks, or I suck. One of us suck. So what I got going on? See? It's taken a lot of work. But anyway, so Philip was over here, and I thought I was going to be out here for like ever scooping gravel, which I was prepared for that. But he came out here, and he smoothed out that stuff, and then he just went over there with his scoop and just scooped some rock in the corner of it, and then just dumped it in my wheelbarrow. And I was like, well, heck yeah, right? So between him moving some gravel, he'd give me a scoop, and I was able to bring it down and put it between the beds, and it saved me so much time. I still have more to do. I ran out of weed barrier that I like, and I'm torn between stopping what I'm doing. You see this? This is why these chickens are going to be allowed to be. Stop it. I mean, of all the places that they have to scratch, right? They're going to do it right here. Stupid chickens. That's how I feel about it, Chloe. I can't have chickens and a garden. I wanted to, and chickens in the landscape. I've planted as much chicken-proof plants as I can, and as I've gotten older, I have decided that I do not like gardening with chickens, so we are ordering some chicken poultry netting. I didn't trap the chickens, they trapped themselves. They have figured out how to get down in there, which is fine. It keeps the dirt from being kicked out as much.
I feel like the chickens have been trapped.
They're not trapped.
I have trees.
You have cypress trees.
I have cypress trees.
Go do your chores before you make us late. So anyway, I got all of it done. Well, at least this side. Like I said, I kind of ran out of weed barrier, and I'm torn to just go ahead and put it down or stop everything that I'm doing, go to Walmart, buy weed barrier, like it's what I have left or what I found. I've used it in the past and it isn't any good, not really. And I like the really thick, almost plastic like weed barrier. But look, this is my chicken fence prison. But I am going to do the same thing with these two rows here. Now that's the bad weed barrier. I don't know if you can see it very good or not, but that's the bad weed barrier. I'm going to be able to straighten it back out and put it back, but it just doesn't do as good as the thicker more plastic stuff. I'm excited about getting all this done. And like I said, if anybody drove by here last night and seen me out here painting, yes I am crazy, but I got it done. So today, between rain and between storms, I'm out here gonna shovel gravel and try to fix that mess of weed barrier and make up my mind if I want to, hi duck ducks, if I want to go to Walmart and stop what I'm doing and get more weed barrier, or just put gravel down and hope for the best where there's not weed barrier. Look, Cruisy's green stalks. Some of the season needs to be replanted. I didn't get it out in time, but the rest of it is doing really good. Oh, and happy accident. I was painting and using that little boardwalk to hold my paint, and I spilled some, and then I tried to clean it up. Well, it just painted the boardwalk. So then I just painted the plastic boardwalk black, and I really like it. I may paint more of them black. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how long it sticks. That's the tricky question. It doesn't look like it's gonna stick very well because it's plastic. But look at these chickens. This is where you would think that would probably keep them out. It doesn't. They figured out how to get in there anyway. But I did figure out that because the beds are lower, because I haven't filled them full of soil. That's just like the stuff I pulled out of the barn from the chickens and the ducks. It's their bedding. So plus I've got some more organic stuff that I've dug out of the compost pile. So it's much lower. The soil level is lower, so they can get in here. In here, they've been in here, but the soil is too tall for them, or it's too high, and I guess they're not able to really get a good scratch out of the deal. So they haven't messed with it yet. But once I'm done wheelbarrowing around all of this stuff, I will move my fence, because I have the fence split in the middle of the garden. It's split down the middle. That's not going to stay there. I'm going to take that back out and then go all the way around here. Traffic. Used to not be so noisy down here. Well, anyway, so once I get the rest of this stuff moved to this is my last spot to do, is just right here for the east side beds. Then I have to go to Walmart, if I decide to, and get more weed barrier. I hate stopping in the middle and going and get more supplies. You just lose your momentum. You have to start all over, and then the stiffness and soreness sets in. It really sucks. But yeah, might get some stuff planted tomorrow. Totally not sticking to my list. Sort of just scrapped the whole list because I just didn't want to mess with building gates today. I have 2 gates left to finish in the barn. I thought I would do them today, get them out of the way. Could not bring myself to do it. I absolutely hate putting hinges on and cutting them and putting hinges on. Me and them, they do not get along. Not one is the same. Not one is the same. I've done 4 already, and not one single one turned out the same. I mean, they all open and they all close, and it's fine and it works. But you'd think by now I'd figure it out. I have not. I am trying to figure out irrigation for these beds. So these 3 beds on the east side of the garden, they are 3 feet wide, 27 feet long, and then I will have the middle that so I'm not going to gravel the entire middle part of this garden where there's no beds. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the gravel here, and then I'm going to put up some sort of little I guess kind of something to stop the gravel, some kind of edging. I don't really want thick blocks or anything, but just some kind of edging to keep the gravel here. And I'm not going to have to worry about chickens scratching it because they're going to be fenced in the back. And plus I'll keep my perimeter fence up just in case one of them escapes. So I'm going to leave this strip here, and then we're moving the quack house. We're going to move it on the other side of the garden where they can actually, the ducks and geese and stuff can get to it. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to move the fence that's separating the garden right now. And I will put some gravel along these beds. It's about 27 foot long, but there's 3 of them. I think the first 2 are like 8 feet beds, something along that line. Maybe 9, I don't remember. And then the little one on the end is a 6-foot bed. We've got garlic planted, and onions, and shallots. So they're all up, and the rows are all really pretty, and I might try to plant some things between them, like the lettuces and stuff like that, the quick stuff. I don't know that I have time to plant lettuce now because we're going to get hot pretty quick. So a lettuce bolt, well, if we do, it'll probably bolt, so we'll just feed it to the ducks and chickens. They love it. That's what we normally do. Anyway, so this middle spot, down this middle here, let me see if I can get over here where you can see it. I haven't figured out how to turn this camera around. So down the middle, I'm going to put, not necessarily teal, but I don't know if you've ever tried this or not before, and it works really good. What I'll do is I'll take my pitchfork and I'll just fork the soil up and make it loose, and then I'll do a whole row on this side probably about 2 feet wide all the way down, so it'll be slightly tilled, but mostly I'm just breaking the soil up, and then I'll take 2 to 4 inches of compost and I'll just line that entire row of soil that I loosened up, and I will do probably 2 rows of that in between these 2 beds, and then I'll cover those rows with weed barrier, and then I will burn out or cut out the spots for the actual flowers and sunflowers. So the 2 center rows that we're going to plant in the ground, we're going to plant zinnias and sunflowers for the pollinators. Plus we really like the flowers, and the zinnias, they flower all summer, and the seeds are really easy to start. And as long as you keep cutting the flowers and making little bouquets and bringing them in, then they flower all summer, and they don't take a lot, and they are great here in Missouri. There's not a whole lot of pests for me. There's not a whole lot of pests that bother them, and the humidity didn't really bother them, and they're okay with being kind of droughty. I mean, I will water them, but it's not like petunias where you just constantly have to keep watering and watering and watering. Now, I will have some little petunias in some like baskets or something up against the barn, because I still love the petunias, but I'm moving towards things that doesn't take a lot of water. Like, I don't mind watering, but I don't want to have to water every morning and then, need watering again by noon and then having to water again in the evening. I want something that I can water every few days. And petunias are not. That is not something you could do with petunias. I mean, you have to water them daily. There's this little succulent, and I always forget its name. It grows wild, and Robert's Produce has these hanging baskets, and I buy them every year. They're hanging bags, not baskets. He has them in baskets too, but I love them. They're hanging bags, and they're a succulent, and they are the best thing I've ever found that you can go 2 and 3, 4 days without watering them, and they don't die. And then if they start to suffer a little bit, once you give them water, they come right out of it. They bloom all season long. However, the geese love eating them. Found that out. Love it. The chickens love eating them. I'll post a comment when I look back and see what the name of it is. It grows wild in Missouri. So it's a succulent, and I always forget its name, and I love it so much. But anyway, so these 2 rows in the middle, it will be zinnias and sunflowers. And next year, I might try planting some some perennials. I'm not sure yet, but I might put some perennials in here, and I might even put some of the hollyhocks, because we planted some hollyhocks and they come back every year. So I might put some of those black hollyhocks in here as well, but I'm not 100% sure, because I don't know what I'm doing until I'm doing it most days. And then probably on that very end bed over there, we're probably going to do like more flowers, because I love flowers, and we eat some of the stuff that we grow, some of the vegetables we eat, the onions and garlic, it's really good for seasoning. But I'm not a huge cook, because it's just me and Cruz and my husband, and I mean, I know he will love me to cook every night, but I'm not much of a cook. I guess I can cook, but I don't have the desire, maybe that's the word. I don't have the desire to cook. So we eat we eat junk, but I love to grow things, and Cruzy loves to grow things, but we don't love to eat a lot of the things that we grow. Now, I love eating tomatoes and peppers, and I do love salads. So those are some of the most of the things that we grow here. But as far as preserving, I can preserve. I generally don't. More than just salsa, because again, we're not big cooks. So it would just kind of go to waste. We're such a small family. Like, a long time ago, when the older kids were home, I probably, done a lot more cooking than I do now. But my Cruzy, mac and cheese, chicken nuggets, that's her thing. What is that?
It's one of the things that fell from the trees.
Is it? Oh, it's the pine things.
Yeah, they smell good.
They do smell good.
They smell really good.
Yeah, pine things. You got your chores done?
No.
Yeah, see.
I was getting her off the nest.
This is why we have a hard time.
I was getting the chicken off the nest.
Oh, I don't think you've done her any favors. She's just going to go straight back.
She's probably going to be mad at me, too. Yeah.
There's something I haven't figured out yet on all of these raised beds. Like you said, there's basically 6 rows total, and then there's going to be 2 in-ground. So I'm going to have 8 beds, and they're all about the same length, about 27 foot. Some of them have less, I guess, growing space because they're more smaller individual beds. But the thing that I haven't decided on how to do, is how am I going to water all this? How am I going to water all this? I don't know. I don't have any idea. I've been looking at irrigation kits on Amazon, and they range from like $40 to $300. What I'm most interested in is some sort of, I need more than just a drip. I looked at some of the tape that you can, it's some sort of irrigation tape that you bury. I looked at it, and then I looked at some PVC grid irrigation, which was really smart, but I think that might be a little bit too expensive for all of these raised beds. So I would like to probably be able to make something for myself out of irrigation or out of PVC plastic irrigation pipes. I've done some plumbing, so it wouldn't be foreign to me, and I can drill holes in PVC, put them down and then put the plants in, and then line up the holes. But me and Cruzy, we share a water source. So what I want the most is where I can water in the mornings, like have on a timer. So the timer I can set it the night before the timer kicks on. It starts watering at 6, then the watering is done by 7 or 7:30 or just whatever I need, and it'll water all the beds at the same time. But I want a switch at each bed because, as we all know, some plants don't need as much water as others. So if that's the case, or maybe I have some empty beds and I don't want to water them, I want to be able to turn off each bed, some sort of valve to turn off those waters the night before, and then in the morning the water automatically turns on, it does its thing, and then before I leave, I usually come out and let the critters out of the barn and check on everybody, and then I can see if there's a problem, like if there's sprung a leak or a hose or something came loose, because that's what always happens with watering. But since me and Cruz share a water source, last year we had a hose out here, and I put a splitter on it. One hose went to where she was at for like when she was watering and cleaning up stuff, and then I had a hose for when I was watering the garden, and I had a sprinkler hose, and then I had a sprinkler, but it doesn't have enough water pressure to be able to do what I need to do with the water and let her do what she has to do with the water. So I've got to find something that I can build, most likely, and have it on a timer, and I want it to be, I guess, feasible, like cost-wise, for 27-foot beds, 6, 7, 8 beds that are 27 foot long, and I think I could probably get away with just like one single pipe down the center of each bed. I don't know for sure because this will be our first year using these beds, but like last year I had a drip hose and I only had it down the center of those beds. So if anybody has any ideas, if you stuck it out this long and you have any ideas on how I'm going to irrigate these beds that aren't overhead watering, because I don't want to overhead water. I don't want to have to move waterers. I want to be able to put them in and leave them in all season. I want to water at the soil level, and I really think like the PVC is probably my best bet. But if you know of a kit that is reasonable, and I can put it together myself and put it on these beds, put it on a timer, it's a lot to ask, right? The list just keeps going. Send me a link or send me a YouTube video, because I'm all about the YouTube tutorials. I have watched so many YouTube tutorials and podcasts, and it's how I've learned most of the stuff that I'm doing is by researching it and reading it. I get a little help from my son and my husband, and but I like to do these things on my own as much as I can, because it's my projects and it's my hobby. They do swing in and help me when they can, and I will corner them for information or to show me how to do something. But for the most part, I try to not bother them on my projects. If they volunteer, I'm not going to turn away good help, but I try not to sucker them in. All right, you guys. Again, thanks for hanging out with me. If you know of a simple solution for irrigating all these beds, let me know. Happy hatching.